What's up, everybody? I'm Virginia Jones, and you're watching the latest episode of Virginia Tries Almost Everything. Guys, so today we're taking a deep dive into another really exciting website / app, which is, oh, and by the way, OnlyFans is not an app. I didn't realize that when I was making the video. Turns out it's just a website. But we're taking another deep dive onto another exciting place called TikTok. And if you don't know what TikTok is, then please leave off the video, Abraham Lincoln, because you don't belong here. Go back to your own time. And the only reason I'm even doing this video is because of poor planning. And I had 2 other video ideas that I was going to do that were great, you know, real gut buster of a video. But due to Mario not being available when I needed him to, and the weather not cooperating because we were going to do it outside, that didn't work. And because I don't know how to work technology, the other one didn't work. So we're not going to focus on that. We're going to do this because I am committed to putting out a video every single week, no matter what is happening. So, well, the main reason why I really want to do that is because I want to just get into the habit of putting out something every week. And 2 is because I want to hit 200 subscribers by my birthday, which is June 26th. So it's a very attainable goal if I just stick to the path. So I didn't have anything else to put out, so we're going on TikTok. The type of videos that we're going to be looking at today are like feminist, pro-women, patriarchy, intersectionality, that kind of stuff. We're going to be diving into that side of TikTok. You might be wondering,
Virginia, why are you going to do that? That's kind of controversial. You don't want to be controversial. You want to be friends with everybody.
No, I don't. I don't want to be friends with everybody. I want to be friends with logical people. And the people that we're going to be looking at today are not logical. Now, you might say,
Virginia, you got to support all women because you're a woman and we got to stick together.
No, we don't actually. I don't support all women because some of you are very dumb. But yeah, come on, guys. We're jumping back on the laptop. We're going to be looking at a couple TikToks and we're going to be going over these together and see, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not infallible, you know. I am not the great Swami. I don't have all the answers to the universe. But let's see if I at least get a couple TikToks right, okay? Let's go.
So, the patriarchy is like a man having his boot on a woman's neck. Feminism is women asking that the boot be removed. Men's rights activists think that having to take their boot off a woman's neck is some sort of reverse oppression. Conservatives figure that there was never a problem with the boot being on the neck until the woman started complaining about it, and if everybody would just shut the fuck up, things would be fine. Good guys take any complaint about the boot as a personal attack because not all men wear boots. Male allies try to discuss the issue in a way without alienating the boot. Women with internalized misogyny don't know why these other women are complaining about the boot on their neck. They love having the boot on their neck, and there's something wrong with the women who complain. Meanwhile, the boot stays on the fucking neck.
Okay. Right out of the gate, we have terrific content. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, where do you even start with something that is just so fundamentally absurd? The whole premise that there is a boot to begin with on the necks of women in society is laughable and nonsensical. It lacks the deeper understanding of human nature and like how humans work, because we left a situation, we as women, I'm speaking, left a situation where we had the men going to work, we had the men paying for everything, and we got to stay home and cook, clean, take care of your own kids. Like, now we have women that will have kids by a man that, you know, they're married to or maybe not, and they'll leave their own kids and be a teacher and, you know, chase a career and be a boss babe to go take care of someone else's kids for 8 hours and leave their kids to be taught by someone else who's teaching them God knows what. And it's just so convoluted. And it's like, we left home, we left simple, you know, domestic labor, we left taking care of our own kids to go out and chase some career. And then on top of that, what's even more ridiculous is the fact of, they say like, oh, you know, you need to have a career and you need to go out and get a job and you need to go out and live your free life and you're liberated because you get to go and do whatever you want. And, you know, it's usually based around having your own job and having your own money. But then they also say that capitalism is the enemy. So The math not mathing, sis. I'm not picking it up. Yeah, the whole concept of a boot. I mean, what can women not do? I mean, ever since probably, I guess you say the 60s, what is something that women can't do? I mean, there's no such thing as the wage gap. I mean, if women actually were allowed to get paid less than men, then why wouldn't companies just hire women alone? Women are 70% of people who file for divorce, and that's exacerbated to 90% once you get into college-educated women. Like 93% of women who are divorced, they are the ones who get the alimony. I believe it's also 93% of the time women are the ones who get the children whenever whenever a husband and wife are separated. Even though studies show that when a couple separates, the children are usually better off with the man than the woman. So you would think, then why are the women the one getting the children? Oh, because women are nurturers. Oh, if only it was that simple. It's actually because the government gets 66% of every dollar that is generated through child support. So they have their hand in the pocket too, trying to get some money from these women and these men that are now divorcing, because breaking up the family unit is one of the best things for big government. But that's a whole other discussion. They normally get less jail time for the exact same crimes. People deem them more trustworthy, so they're usually the one. So like, even when it comes to like issues to women like sex trafficking, a lot of people that get women into sex trafficking are other women because women trust them. And a few other things I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Like, this is totally unscripted. I'm just going off stuff off the top of my head right now, because that's that's always how I do my videos. I don't really write scripts, as you can imagine. I just like to ramble on. And so, yeah. And then if nothing else, just looking at their username, 666, tells you all you need to know about this person, that they can't be trusted.
In what sense is our society male-dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labour.
A very tiny proportion of men, and a huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. It's like, where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society. There's nothing about that that's vaguely appropriate.
But I could say equally well that most rape victims are women. Terrible things happen to people of both sexes.
And you could say that with perfect utility, but that doesn't provide any evidence for the existence of a male-dominated patriarchy.
Ah, yes, everybody's favorite good old boy, Jordan Peterson, here dropping some more knowledge on you. Some of the things that I just said, that he reiterated, and I can pull up the stats and everything, because I'm not just talking out of my butt. I'm actually providing with logic and statistics and facts, So, yeah, great video, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Moving right along.
Every single time we have conversations about the gender pay gap, rape culture, or patriarchy in general in the media, the same argument gets brought up every single time. Women get paid less than men because they don't ask for raises. Women struggle to say no. Women don't know how to assert themselves. And it pisses me off, because all of these points fail to acknowledge the many reasons why women struggle to do these things in the first place. Women do say no, but it's ignored. Women do assert ourselves. We say what we want. We express our discomfort and our desires when we need to. And we're told that we're being too much. We're called a bitch. We're called difficult, told we're being a hassle. So we learn to just sugarcoat everything we say with, oh, no worries if not, or sorry to be a hassle, but women are trained to not assert ourselves. The way we have shamed women into not standing up for ourselves is an intentional effect of capitalism and patriarchy, so that we are easier to control, manipulate, sell products to. Because if we don't feel comfortable saying our desires out loud, then we accept that they will be dictated to us.
I feel like one major thing that a lot of women miss is that women are not men. And so we try to do things the same way, and we can't, because we're not the same. So a man might be, really aggressive to do something, but a woman doesn't have to do that. A woman can get a promotion, or a woman can be assertive without being aggressive, because aggression is a masculine trait. So women are seen as more delicate and feminine, in which they should be seen. That's not a derogatory thing. And so we can get what we want in the world by accentuating our strengths and by doing things in our way, because that's what we are. We excel when we play to our strengths. It's like another example of where people think that there is inequality. I mean, there is inequality, but it's not like structural inequality. It's just natural inequality, which is fine. It's sports. And, women's basketball, women's tennis, women's soccer, whatever, they're always piping up about how things aren't fair, how there's not enough money to go around, all this stuff. And just women versions of those sports are just not as good because women are not as strong, they're not as fast, they're not as tall, their bones aren't as dense, they're just not built the same. So the sports aren't going to be the same quality, and that's okay. Those things appeal to certain people, not most people, but some people. But there are certain sports where women excel, and you don't really hear the men piping up about how that's unfair. Like women's gymnastics. The Olympic women's gymnastics team, you always hear about them come Olympic time, and they're, praised, and they're always showing them, and they're everywhere. But you don't really see the men's gymnastics team as much as you see the women's. And you don't normally hear them crying about it. It's just natural. People don't really want to see men flipping around in leotards as much as they want to see women. Sorry. Go cry about it. Women, long distance swimming, because women usually have a higher fat content on their bodies than men do. So they are usually better at long distance swimming. It's a natural inequality that makes one gender better than the other. It's not, society bringing the men down. It's just how things are. Or another example that isn't really a sport, but like stripping. Women strippers make 100 times more money than male strippers do, and they're much more popular, they're much more celebrated. But, your local Chippendales is not holding a protest outside of, the Magic City about how they need to get paid the same and how they need to have the same amount of traffic. No, because it's just not realistic. Men and women excel in different fields because they play to different strengths. It's just how things are.
Patriarchy in a nutshell is this: men not knowing how to build authentic relationships with each other, and women being a collateral damage in that. There's a reason why men never look to women, to understand what women look for in a romantic relationship with men, and why men just defer to each other for that. Men in patriarchy are not socialized to value their relationships with women. Bros before hoes. They're taught to place primal importance on how other men view them, and are taught to prove themselves to other men. And the way they prove themselves to each other is through degradation and dehumanization of women. Think of locker room talks, frat parties. Their membership to manhood is maintained through their loyalty to those values that center around not viewing women as equal human beings worthy of respect. Hence the boys club. When one of them hurts women, they either play devil's advocate or jump to each other's defense. A good movie that illustrates that is A Promising Young Woman. Unless men reform the way they build relationships with each other, women will be harmed.
Okay, so I think this is where I'm going to cut the video. This is going to be our last clip because this is just, this is not the kind of stuff that I want to just put on the channel all the time. So we're just going to do this just to be able to have something. But lastly, before I go, once again, building a premise on a false narrative is this idea that, men build relationships, or, men hurt women, and men, they don't respect women, and men, they're, they join together to try to, disrespect and degrade women. First off, I don't think that could be even qualified as being true on a grand scale. But even if that was true, I mean, is the idea of hot girl summer foreign to any of you? I mean, these women nowadays, they're just like, I'm going to use a guy, I'm going to trick him, I'm going to get his money, and then I'm going to toss him to the side. I'm going to go out to dinner with him, and he's going to pay for the meal, and I'm going to ghost him. We're going to have sex, and, I'm going to leave him on red. Just this whole, this is such a antiquated way of thinking about men and women, thinking that women are just here getting ran through and dogged out, and that there's no defense, and that they're just, these pitiful little women who are at home and just trying to give their best to the men, and the men are just mistreating them. Like, that's not the world that we live in 2021, almost 2022. Like, we live in a world full of Meg Thee Stallions and Cardi B's and mulattoes. Like, we live in a world full of people who, we live in a world full of women who are just as rude, just as shisty, just as derogatory and disrespectful to men as men are to women. So it's anybody's game. It's a fair playing field out there now. Like, there's plenty of birth control, there's plenty of contraceptives, there's plenty of, medical advances to where a woman can be just as promiscuous and run through just as many men as a man could traditionally. So I feel like this idea that, oh, you know, there's good old boys club where men stick together and, you know, no man is ever held accountable for how he treats women is just not accurate in its entirety, but also just in today's world. Like, it's just women women are always sticking together. They're like, we put girls before these guys. Like, we're not gonna let these, we're not gonna, I was about to say something I don't normally say on my channel. We're not gonna let these guys, separate us. We're gonna stick together. I'm not worried about these men, all this stuff. Like, I'm just trying to chase a bag. I'm just trying to get a check, all this stuff. Like, I'm not worried about these guys. Like, where has this lady been? Like, I don't understand. Like, she's just missed, like, the last, 20 years of America and, of, like, popular music. And, it's just weird to me how a lot of women still think like this. Like, oh, it's the men who are banding together to take advantage of the women. It's like, oh, well, women nowadays, they're giving it just as well as they take it. So, men need to watch out. So, but yeah, guys, that's where we're just gonna do these few videos. I just wanted to be able to put something out just to see you guys' beautiful faces once again. So I'm gonna be working on those other videos that I was working on before and trying to get those ready. But yeah, guys, I'm Virginia Jones. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and push the bell to be notified on all the things going on the Virginia Tries channel. And if you had anything to say about the videos that I reviewed today, please don't be afraid to leave a comment. This is an open space. Be sure to drink plenty of water, and I'm gonna see you guys next week with another banger of a video.